Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Sunday night breakdown. We're doing the off-season, Dave. We're on off-season timing because it's Bank Holiday Monday. But you were busy in the bar breaking down Porzingis' game for him last night, were you?
I think there was half of Latvia that was doing that. Yeah, unfortunately, it was a 6 o'clock tips, a little bit late.
Yeah.
You know, the see, places to go that type of.
Is that the Virtue Motors Arena declaring war on Sunday night breakdown with the 6 o'clock tip?
Yeah, I think it's FIBA. I think FIBA set the times to be absolutely fair. I think we would quite happily have done it just a little bit earlier. But I'm not sure we got all the Latvians through security in time. So
true. Yeah.
Probably not a bad call. It's nice to be back, Dan.
It is nice to be back, and we've come back to break down the two FIBA World Cup qualifiers that Great Britain have played over the last few days. Let's start with Belgium. Actually, let's not start with Belgium. Let's start with the politics of life, because we need to get right into it. Because but both commentators refer to the fact that GB had less preparation time. Mark Clark said they had 2 practices ahead of the Belgian game.
And then they flew to Belgium.
Yeah, and just to put that into some context, Belgium played their first game on the 4th of August. They'd announced their 18-man squad to go to Finland on the 31st of July. They played 2 games in Finland. They then played Germany, Estonia, Bosnia, and France. Now, they were 1-5, lost 5 in a row. That's not great, but it's better than 0 and 0. And I guess that's the sort of, it's probably not a great surprise that Britain were better in the second game than they were in the first game. And really, we do hamstring ourselves, and everything that we're going to say about the players and the coaching and all of this and that comes afterwards is in the full knowledge that it's very difficult to just wander into an international World Cup qualifier and be at your best.
Absolutely. I'm spitting about it, to be honest. Absolutely spitting about it. The organization, the shambolic nature of the governance is showing real effect. This is a real effect, and it lets down the people who put the time in, lets down the players who play out of their own goodwill, out of the willingness to play for their country. And it goes back simply beyond, why can't we have a longer training camp? It goes a long way before that. You know, it's come out over the summer that the person who was the chair, who somehow became the chairperson of British basketball, has been disqualified for ever acting in UK athletics ever again in any format due to repeated and proven, so by an independent inquiry, allegations of bullying. Now, we are dependent on funding from UK sport. We're dependent on UK sport authorized funding across all the sports, right? They have various requirements and there are various standards that they set. They will have been aware of this investigation that was going on.
Yeah, they will.
The reason now where this links to is the reason that we can't have a practice because we don't have any funding. Why don't we have any funding? Because the funding wasn't released. Why wasn't the funding released? The funding wasn't released because we had somebody who was under investigation of very serious matters, who was somehow launched and parapeted into the position of chairperson of British basketball, a sport in which he had no involvement and no prior knowledge. And then we have people sitting on the board, which is primarily populated by boards from Basketball England, Basketball Scotland, and Basketball Wales, who have basically authorised that or allowed that to continue. Now, that is a horrendous failure of governance, and the reason that money does not get allocated by UK sport is because they are not satisfied with the level of the governance that's going on, because they know of the and this is my supposition, they know of the investigations that are going on, and until it's sorted out and until that person resigns, then they're away. Then they're not going to give us the money. And therefore the money isn't released. And when the money isn't released, the people who are doing all the hard work and trying to put together programs, pulling in players from all over Europe, pulling in hotels, pulling in space, kit, all that stuff, they can't do it. They're hamstrung.
Yeah.
And the reaction of that is to the players. Now, if this was just kind of the canary in the coal mine, it'd be bad enough, but it's not.
No.
Right?
Semper idem, they say around these parts. Always the same.
Always the same, but we have 4 years ago of 4 years we had Dan Clark sitting down there,
Yeah,
and
in
like
Glasgow.
explaining rationally in Glasgow, explaining absolutely rationally all the things that needed to be done. Nothing was done. Then we had the utter farce of the under-20s,
Yeah,
the despicable betrayal of the youth of basically a cohort of 2 or 3 years players, probably more than that, given that we're relegating the under-20s to Division B now.
yeah,
So
yeah,
when we
yeah.
do start again, it's probably more than that, probably 5, 6, 7 years of betrayal by an organisation whose only responsibility is to put GB basketball teams on the court, right? Because for people who don't understand, on a kind of a very potted history of it is, GB basketball is like it's like almost a contrived entity. It's contrived. It doesn't involve itself with basketball England, basketball Scotland, or basketball Wales, insofar as they deal with Sport England money and participation money and running the national leagues and all that stuff. All GB basketball, or the BBF or whatever it's called, does is liaise with FIBA and deal with the national teams. And the national teams actually only rate, or only in GB terms, under 20s and the national teams. Yeah. And so there is nothing else to their remit that I can see. I might be wrong, but there's nothing else. There's no development remit. There's no competing aspects or anything like that. Nothing else to their remit other than to put basketball teams on the court and give them the best chance to succeed. We failed to put an under-20s team on the court.
Yeah. And we failed to put a senior team in the best place to succeed.
We failed to put the senior team in even close to the best place to succeed. And that is an organizational failure in relation to your core aspect, which should have resulted in, I'm sure it did result in people, UK sport, looking at them thinking, what money? What, really? More money? What? But also, that should result. There should be people on that board who aren't satisfied for that. There's 9 people on the board, 9 or 10. And there are 2 spaces. There's obviously a space for a new chair, 2 vacant directors. We had one of them at the game yesterday. Guy called Eddie McKinley, who does a lot of the running around in organisation and kind of behind the scenes stuff on a practical basis. The last game in July, we had Gavin Williams was there from Basketball Wales. He came up, which was good. The vast majority of the directors I haven't seen there. Now, your only function is to put a basketball team on the court, and you're not at the games. That's the problem for me. The ex-chairman came at 1 game in 5. That's a problem for me. That's like, well, why are you doing this? Why are we involved in this? Who is laying the standards down? What are the lines of accountability? Who's in charge? The answer is no one. Who is saying this isn't good enough, therefore things have to change? The answer is no one. What we've had is internally warfare in relation to pettiness as to who gets the money for registration of players or international clearance, because the ex-chairman was holding off an agreement with basketball. Basically, Basketball England want that money, Basketball Scotland want that money, Basketball Wales want that money. GB Basketball say, "Oh, we need that money because it might, maybe a few £1,000s that helps us." And there's a massive argument going on about it between all of them when they're basically all meant to be pushing in the same direction. And because of that, you have people with conflicts of interest on the board, because some of them are waiting for, half of them, it's a constituted Basketball England, Basketball Scotland, Basketball Wales, and they're all part of that. They're meant to be paying for they have to be dealing with their own organisation, and also then with they're kind of catapulted onto the board of GB basketball. And it is just incredible that anything could get itself into the depth of despair and the inadequacy of preparation that has left these players who are going up and putting themselves up, and these coaches are putting themselves up against some of the best players in the world. This isn't July, this is August window.
Yeah.
The best players in the world. Someone's going to have to go and guard Giannis next week, right?
Yeah.
Right? And you need to know who your teammates are, and you need to be, you can get embarrassed doing that, right? And to leave them in the situation that they've been left in To say they've been dealt a bad hand is right. I don't play poker, but it's not a pair of twos. It's worse than that.
No,
No,
it's not 5 cards.
it's not 5 cards. To say you've been dealt a bad hand is just wrong. It is appalling. It's a betrayal of everything that they have put in. We shouldn't be in EuroBasket. Let's be clear about this. On the resources that we have, and on the manner in which we've had to run, getting to EuroBasket, getting to the last 3. I mean, obviously the Belarusian thing helps, but even getting to this stage,
yeah. No,
you know what I mean. We people forget.
Well, because the other
6
thing
games
is,
playing, 5 of them are in Rome.
Yeah. The other thing is, I look at Belgium, right? We talked about Belgium and their 6 games and their 3-week preparation. Well, you wouldn't say Belgium is some European basketball, power. It's not a massive country in that regard. We should aspire to at least match what Belgium can do in terms of setting the players up. Whether our players are better than their players or whatever is neither here nor there. But in terms of allowing ourselves to be our players to be at their best, we ought to aspire to at least that.
And teams are getting used. The countries are getting used to the windows now, because obviously the windows are relatively new, and there's a little bit of kind of curiosity about them all initially as to who's going to play when and how's it all going to work, right? And now it's been they've figured out that actually, this window, we can get our guys back. We can get our stadiums full. We can get, we can get
19,000 at the OACA yesterday for.
We got Janet watching, but wouldn't you? Wouldn't Janet Greece? We got Doncic, playing in various different. Doncic playing, Jokic playing. These are world superstars, right? These are the best 10 players, 10, 20 players in the NBA, world superstars. And they are not coming back to play for a half-assed organization. If Greece, the Greece National Federation, the Serbian National Federation, the Latvian National Federation, if they don't do what they have to do to look after their players, those guys aren't coming back, and those NBA clubs aren't letting them anywhere near. So what that's meant is that the level of everybody else has raised. Because the Belgians are thinking, oh, we're playing against these guys, we're going to have to be ready. So the level of everybody else is raised, and our level is actually, if anything, reduced, declined. And I don't know why. I don't understand why. We have so little accountability about that. No one writes about it. Nobody really cares about it. Nobody seems to raise an eyebrow about it. Dan Clark's tried. What more can he do? Rob Stuhl's tried. What more can they do? You can't keep saying the same thing time and time again. Eventually, you just have to play with the hand that you're dealt. But the hand that you're dealt is getting worse and worse and worse. And it's down fundamentally to the lack of accountability and the failures of the organizations to have any interest. Because Basketball England, Basketball Scotland, Wales Basketball, they don't have any direct interest in the GB basketball team. It doesn't affect their bottom line. It doesn't affect how many players play. It doesn't affect what they go to Sport England asking for. It doesn't, right? We've had 4 games in Newcastle now. I love the fact that I can watch Porzingis 7 minutes drive away from my home. Yeah. Absolutely love it. But even the people at Newcastle will tell you that, we don't want to be posting every GB game. The GB team is a team for the country. It should be played around the country. Right? Now, you've just mentioned 19,000 people in Greece. Why can't we get why can't we get the O2 or the Copper Box or the NIA for a game like that? The reason why we can't do it is because there is no forethought, there is no foresight, there is no capability within the organization to do it. They have no resources. They haven't got the money to even pay a higher venue. So because of that, it's great that we got 2,500 people and we sold out the 4th game, etc. But that game, in reality, should be being played in a bigger venue. And instead of 1,000 Latvians, it seems like 10,000. Instead of that, you've got 10,000 Latvians, and the profiles raised higher, and it works. And no one, and everyone is just happy toddling along in their little lane, thinking they're doing the best, and they're not. They're not, and that is brutal. And that is, it's just, given what they've accomplished and what they've achieved to get to where they've got to, the playing squad and the staff around them, be let down in the way that they have done, to be basically thrown out there, just thrown out there, is shameful. Sorry, shameful. And if anybody wants to come on and explain, or I'm sure I can do a podcast with Sam or somebody about how GB basketball works. I'm just looking at what I know from the outside, a little bit from the inside, but not that much. But basically, what's publicly out there and kind of joining the dots. And joining the dots it's just shameful. Sorry. So that was there. So rant kind of over.
Yeah. Should we talk?
But there's more to talk. I mean, there is more to do. I mean, And we had this sorry, just to finish it. Yeah. The Brentford Manchester United game, there was an argument with Jamie Redknapp and Gary Neville after the game. Brentford beat Manchester United 4-0. And Gary Neville was saying, look, this is down to the owners. The fish rots from the head. And Jamie Redknapp was, well, yeah, but the players have to take responsibility. And I'm on Gary Neville's side, right? This is top down. This is top down. The disinterest, the lack of any tangible support, the concept that kind of just making do is good enough, or even just kind of not even making do, bumping along the bottom is good enough. It's not. It's a betrayal of everybody. It makes us a joke. It makes our player. Everybody looks at the GB program in a world where all the other national programs have figured all this out and are growing and are kind of tactically working on what they need to do the best and strategizing. We got no strategy. Let's just rock up, get a few players out there. Hopefully, we've got some kit. Or the Eagles have will sort out the hotels for us, and they'll sort out the tickets for us. We'll play the game, and then we'll get some money off you guys, but we'll book the flights, and then we'll go to the next one. It's rubbish. So unfair, so wrong. Anyway,
should we talk some basketball?
Yeah, go on.
We've had enough of the politics. What's that? 20 minutes of politics.
It had to be said.
It had to be said, because actually everything that follows sort of you have to view through the prism of that. The reality is we're going to say here that player X made this mistake, or Nate should have done this or that or whatever, but it needs to be seen in the context of, they had 2 practices and the team they're playing against have been together for 3 weeks and played 6 games.
Yeah,
that is not a level playing field.
It is, and it's a little bit Don Quixote, tilting at windmills. No one's going to listen. But, I get no one else wants to say it. So, if we're bothered, we may as well use this forum.
Yeah. So let's get to the game. Belgium 72, Great Britain 57. Started really well this game. Great defense from GB, got some easy runouts, took an early lead. Nelson with a couple of fouls, though, that really hurt.
Luke Nelson hasn't played since April. I thought this was his warm-up game, to be honest. He looked a little bit, it's a rhythm thing. You just look a little bit off the pace. You're a little bit late on your rotation. You commit the foul. You haven't quite got the timing down on your screens and your dribbling and all that stuff. And then obviously without Tariq, who was injured, Tariq Phillip, who was possibly our naturalized player. So we don't have another one of them, by the way. No one's the various failings of basketball England over the years and GB basketball to actually qualify players to get them lined up, and we got Jeremy Sochar. I could get into that as well. All of this stuff. That means we've got no other naturalized player like all these other countries have. And so Tariq Phillip's not there. Interesting decision to go without another point guard as well, because Teddy was basically the only point guard on the roster. Devin Van Oostrum was left out, and Mo Sulawad, who hasn't played for 3 years, was brought in. I was surprised by that, because I watched the game against Turkey and I thought Devin Van Oostrum was pretty good. He played 30 minutes. So that was a kind of a surprise to us. And Carl Wheatle was back. Obviously, Carl Wheatle played very well in the game away from home in the last window. He started at the point guard, played very well, but then missed the home game due to a bereavement. So he was back, but he started at the point guard position in his last game, and then he started at 3 in this position in this game. So the general GB lineup, which we actually saw kind of reverted to on the Sunday game, was with Ben Mockford starting.
Yeah.
Not probably not because he's one of the best 5 players. I don't even think Ben would say that he was one of the best 5 players, but because of the spacing and the addition of and to a certain degree the kind of the bulldog mentality type of thing, which is, they've got comfortable with. They've got comfortable with a point guard with Luke Nelson, Ben Mockford, or it could be Jordan Whelan, I suppose, as another shooter, and then Miles and one of the bit in Gabe, and so there was some kind of little bit of lack of connectivity in relation to some of the lineups that they put out in relation to some of the games they've played before, which didn't help, and that comes a little bit from having a head coach who's not been around as much because he's missed a lot of those games, and so that group's grown without him. So he's got to figure it out on the fly, and figure it out on the fly with 3 days ability to do it in practice.
Yeah.
So that adds to the dysfunction, that adds to the situation. But ultimately, they started okay, but where offense just fell off a cliff. Went down, and eventually you get to that point where you've got to have an ability to create a shot, in the half court. And Carl Wheatl's energy is outstanding, and his intensity is outstanding. His defense is pretty darn good, but he isn't a floor spreader. He isn't a spacer. And when Luke Nelson goes out the game, then we're left with the backcourt from the Cheshire Phoenix and the Leicester Riders last year. Ian, Ben, and Jordan, and not Jordan, Patrick Whelan. I said Jordan before. Sorry, Jordan. Sorry, Patrick. And Patrick Whelan, and and they're also playing big minutes as well. That's tough. So I think it took us a while to figure out. In fact, I don't think we ever did figure out in this game precisely what lineups we needed. I thought our energy was good. I thought our intensity. These guys always kind of laid out there. Every game they've laid it out there. Every game they've physical. Every game they've put themselves on the line. But the vibe wasn't quite right. Just the whole. There was a lot of you could see that there was no rhythm about them. There was uncertainty. It was like the first game of every preseason I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Essentially, these games are the warm-up for EuroBasket rather than World Cup qualifiers, aren't they? That goes
they
back
are, but I mean, you're in the last 20. We deserve. You fought to get this far. You deserve to give them the very best shot you can. That's back to the first bit.
So Baku got them going. They hit a couple of threes, 13-0 run. They go 18-9 up Belgium. Into the second quarter, Hessen came into the game, sparked a bit of a run, 10-0 run, 5 for him, 5 for Ovi Soko. It's 20-20 after 4 minutes, but again, the offense fell off a cliff.
Yeah, defense keeps us in games, but eventually you need to be able to, you can't, because you can't get away without scoring, because it's not even whether you make shots, whether you miss shots, it's the quality of the shot. And if the quality of the shot isn't right, or if you're getting turned over at half court, Mosul had his pocket picked a couple of times, or if you're shooting early threes, that's when you give up the transition threes at the other end, and that kind of breaks you down as a team. And I thought, as the offense kind of staggered its way through, we scored primarily in transition, or off individual talent, which is obviously Ovi and Miles. And we, unfortunately, in this game, we failed to mobilize Gabe Olaseni in any which way, shape, or form. Basically, had no pick and roll play. And Gabe is a elite pick and roll finisher. He's not over. He's probably even undersized in EuroBasket terms for some of the guys he's going up against in the post, etc. He's, he can battle, but he's not. That's not his primary skill set. His primary skill set is in the pick and roll and finishing. And we didn't get him any looks at all. Because of that, we then don't get any kickouts or any spacing for any threes, and it just all looked a little bit of a hodgepodge. Played quite a lot of players, and you could see that the coach was just trying to find something that worked offensively. And we've talked about it before, haven't we? If you're down by 10 in a 30-20 game at halftime, that's like being down by 20.
Yeah.
And, because you can't find a way of scoring.
So Belgium had an 11-2 run. Nelson came back in and picked up his third foul almost immediately. It was 31-20, 22. And like you say, halftime, the worry is, can we score enough points to get back in the game. And again, early in the third quarter, Hessen again 5 in a row. It was 36-32 after 3 minutes, and this was the moment of the game. It was going to go one way or the other, and Belgium got 13 of the next 14 points, and we're down 16.
Yeah, but even our offense was hard. I just thought it was hard all the time. I think Mockford got a 3 in transition at one point, but we really generated very little in the way of open looks. Didn't really, if you're ball handling by committee, which we kind of were, and different players have different skill sets. So you have a little bit of kind of Nelson, a little bit of Wheatle, a little bit of Solois, a little bit of Okafor. You didn't see anything which the guys had any real confidence in the way that what they were running. And I think that was down to just kind of the mixing and matching that was going on. And in many ways, we trade offense for defense a lot. We have to, because we don't, So, outside of probably Hessen, Olaseni, and Nelson, outside of those 3 guys, you're probably either bringing on somebody who's an offensive weapon or a defensive specialist, and not both. Mockford obviously is primarily there for his shooting. Whelan, I think, I haven't quite got to figure out at that level how good his defense is yet. I'm not quite sure. But he's there to shoot because he can score. And then the bigs off the bench as well. Dan Clark is more offense than defense at this stage. And that means as a coach, you're constantly juggling stuff. Constantly juggling. Do I need more offense? Do I need more defense? Can I give Wheatle is primarily a defensive player, an energy guy, and that's tough. You got to try and stay in the game with your defense, but you've also got to score the ball. And we didn't score. We couldn't score the ball.
Nelson, Nelson and Mockford hit back-to-back threes to make it 10. But then Mwemba with a dunk and a 3 either side of the last break, 15-point game. That was basically it. 57 is not enough to win you a game at that level, and that inherently was the problem. Bako led the Belgians with 17 and 7 shots, 6 of 9. Obersahan with 15. Hessen had 17 for Great Britain. Soko was a +1 on the plus-minus with 13 points. 21 of 59 field goals, 5 of 20 from 3. Again, numbers that you're going to struggle to.
We didn't generate good looks. And given some of the size disadvantages that we have, given the skill sets of our players, and my mindset for trying to kind of stay competitive in those type of games is, we got to make threes. We have to make threes, and we have to get guys who are going to shoot threes without thinking and try and stretch the defense out. Because I don't think, on kind of just a full-on grinded out kind of throw it inside battle, I don't see how we can win games at that level. Being traded threes for 2s, and you got a chance. You always got a chance. Going back to Spain in EuroBasket in 2009, you make a batch of threes in the game, and suddenly Pau Gasol's coming off the bench thinking, oh, shit, better make a shot or 2 here, But I didn't think we got the balance of that right enough. I think you got to have guys who can shoot at those positions 1, 2, 3. They have to be able to shoot and shoot willingly, not just shoot the odd one. Shoot willingly, shoot regularly, and shoot without a conscience. And I think that was possibly why we scored 57 points.
So let's move to the second game in Riga. Newcastle. Great.
It was about, I would say it was probably maybe 55-45 Latvia GP. I would say that because the whole end down the far down the south end, that was all GP. But what's happened is all the expensive tickets, the Latvian fans have gone online straight away and got them up, all the sideline tickets. They're not the corporates. So because of that, where the Eagle season ticket holders sit, because the GB fans are a little bit less panicky to get their tickets. They're all gone. So the whole of Riga is signed. And I do think that I think there's still an EasyJet flight direct from Riga or a Ryanair flight
I
direct
just
from
wondered
here.
whether there was a large Latvian community in the Northeast that I was unaware
Well,
of.
in 48 years, I've never been aware of it.
No.
You know, and they're certainly not bad people because in
Yeah.
23 years, I've never represented a Latvian criminal. So and generally you get one or two. If it's a large community, it's
Yeah.
no, but they showed up, and I mean, it took me back 32 years to go into Crowtree Leisure Centre to see Pauk Salonika play against Sunderland. And you know, and all the Greek fans showed up from God knows where and started throwing paper on all sorts of stuff. It was a little bit like, you know, the Slovenians were like that in the EuroBasket. But people don't realize that, you know, imagine that just behind God, Porzingis is pretty close.
It's that good.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how religious they are.
You
know, you know, I mean, there were, and the advantage, and I've talked about, you know, we could be playing in some bigger gyms, etc. The advantage of playing in that gym, actually, it actually helped GB in the game because it was, I think, the environment was more comfortable for GB, even with the fans, just the tightness of the court, just the intense environment. But for people to be able to, for you come in the garden Latvian to be able to kind of show up, literally be watching Porzingis from, you know, a seat which, if you're in the NBA, that costs you $1,000. You know, if you're in Madison Square Garden, I mean, it cost me $200 to sit in the top tier. Like, you know, you can hardly see anything, right? You're basically $1,000 seats, and you're watching this guy who was a top 20 player in the world. He's a Latvian superstar, and you know, he's walking out afterwards. And so the connection of the fans to the game and to the team and to the GB, you know, I thought was really good. And it wouldn't have been crazy. It wouldn't have been the same environment. In a bigger gym.
Because if you go to somewhere like the Copper Box or the NIA or somewhere like that, whatever it's called now, utility arena, you've always got that bit back to the seats. There's always a floor thing, whereas
security guards everywhere and all that. So in Newcastle, you're right on top, and everybody, you know, everyone's got. I say basically they're all $1,000 seats in NBA. But obviously, it wasn't designed for NBA players.
No,
you know,
no.
You know, and we Paul's now wishing he desperately put in 1,000 seats.
$1,000 seats,
seats. But so the environment actually made the game. It also the fact that GB had a game beforehand made the game because GB they're a bunch of proud players. They really are. I mean, the level of admiration that I have for them, just as a fan. Forget their rights and wrongs, whether they can shoot or they can't shoot, for what they commit and what they give up and what level they're being asked to play at compared to what their kind of their day-to-day existence is. Against the level of admiration is just immense. I mean, they really are just awesome. And the fact that we get no traction. We have, you know, we've got 10 people on the JB board. We've got no media. There's nobody there. You know, who's doing it? Why? Who's on the phone to BBC saying, why isn't this game being dealt with? I've got to watch, you know, and watch South Africans playing cricket in crisp costumes all summer. And I've got a sporting environment like we were in last night with the world superstar playing. And no one cares. That's a problem. That's a problem that's not a problem for the players because they're used to it now, and it's a resigned shrug when they see all these Latvian fans come and they realize there's nobody from the BBC or from the media there to speak to them. It's just like, whatever, it's what it is. But why should it be like that? You know, why aren't we battering the door down? We've got 10 people on the GB board. Why aren't they battering the door down to do this? Because I'm afraid the 10 people on the GB board have other jobs. Do other things. The one person who was in charge of it is now disgraced. You know, so it's not, you know, it's not in the intangible stuff like that makes no difference, but it would make a massive difference to our sport and a massive difference to the way in which the players felt appreciated, and that matters.
It does.
Eventually, we're going to
goodwill runs out.
Eventually, and to be honest, Dan Clark and Miles Hessen and Gabe Olaseni, they would be entitled to turn around after EuroBasket and look,
never again.
And say, look, I've done my bit. I've done my bit,
Yeah.
but nothing is ever getting better. And what an absolute indictment of the second most popular sport on a playing basis in this country. What an indictment of the governance of that sport that would be.
So
sorry,
we've gone back to politics. I don't think I don't think I gave the score here.
I'm trying to get the viral bit in, Dan, you know.
GB 80, Latvia 87. Mockford, you mentioned it earlier. Mockford into the starting lineup for Wheatlers.
It just looks better. It just looks better. It's not an individual thing. It's a spacing thing. It takes Nelson off the ball. It gives the opposition someone they have to stand next to that they can't help off. And spacing is so important in that. And Miles playing at the 4 really helps him as well because he can step out and shoot it. And it means he's got a tough job defensively, but he's a tough player, Miles.
Yeah. So another good start out to 11-6. The one issue we had, through the whole first quarter really, was the fouls mounting up. Soko picked up 2 almost in a row against trying to guard Porzingis, and so actually we couldn't get away because they were just hitting free throws.
Yeah, they were. I mean, two things. I mean, the first thing was we did start really well. Mockford did his eye, that hurt us, that killed our rhythm a little bit. Because we scored 3 or 4 times down and looked really, kind of ready to go. And when he came out, that Wheatle came in from Mockford, that's a totally different vibe to the whole team. Totally different, it's the offense defense thing I was talking about. Mockford is more your offense and your hustle, and Wheatle is more in your spacing, and Wheatle is more your hustle. So that changed things a little bit. And our tactics were quite clearly to be physical with them, which is fine because Porzingis is going to post up. We can't match him for size.
No.
So you're going to body him and push him and do that. Now Hessen did a better job of that than Soko. Soko was over aggressive on him, which meant that, and he's a master of baiting fouls. Because he's 7'3", you're stick thin. You've been beaten up by everybody through the whole of your career by and people are expecting you to play inside and all of that stuff, and that's what they're going to do. So he knows how to flail and set his screens and all that stuff.
Mark Clark on commentary did point that out once or twice, that they must be pretty strong because there's a big man falling to the floor like that. But
and sometimes you've got to kind of be a little bit. It's hard to say a little bit smarter, but it's that controlled aggression, whereby you just play right on the edge, and I mean, I love the mentality of Soko and trying to get up into him, but Hessen did a better job because Hessen did it without. You're not going to stop Porzingis, and you can't. He's just not. He's not. I mean, you make it as hard as you can. And Hessen did a better job without fouling, using his kind of upper. It was almost like PJ Tucker in the NBA, using his upper body strength just to try and kind of push him out a little bit. But Soko's fouls hurt big time because he's our one next level. A real kind of guy who can give us 20 and 10. And he never got a foothold in the game. And a lot of and then there was some over aggressiveness on the perimeter in the penalty, which hurts. They're the ones that hurt. To be honest, you can kind of deal with the fighting Porzingis stuff down low because you're gonna have to do that. What you can't doing is bumping some of the little guards 30 feet from the basket when you're in the penalty. And you're giving them 4, maybe 4 or 6 cheap points at the end of the quarter. The refs were always going to call it tight early. The refs were, I would say they were stretched by this game. And it wasn't you walk in your park. It was a 53 foul, physical, emotional, almost combustible environment. And I don't think the refs did a great job of handling it, to be honest. But to start with, that was by calling a lot of fouls, and they shot a ton of foul shots, and we didn't shoot any. And they also were coming off a 25-point win. Against Turkey. I know that feeling extraordinarily good about themselves.
No doubt.
It's generally a very bad thing for basketball.
Interesting stat came up on the screen with about 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. It was 14-12. Clark had just hit a transition 3 in the corner, and there were 7 assists to 1. And Latvia are normally a good team at moving the ball and finding shooters, but they had 12 points on the board with just one assist. However, they did score the next 8 points to go 14-20 ahead, which forced a timeout. And then GB at the end of the quarter were down 8, 16-24. We touched on the free throws. It was 1 of 2 for Great Britain versus 12 of 14 for Latvia in that first quarter.
And to be fair, you know, I'd say there were some shooting fouls, but there was at least 2 bad, what I regard as bad, cheap fouls on the perimeter, which gave them 4 foul shots. And then you get Porzingis getting fouled a couple of times and whatever. So the 14 kind of maybe should have been 8. It was always a big thing, you know, when we're the Eagles about not fouling once you're in the penalty at the end of quarters, because, you know, teams, particularly guys who have teams, players who are like 85, 90% foul shooters, who know that's where it's the difference between a player scoring 20 in a game and scoring 12 in a game, if they're smart about getting fouled at that. And I thought we were slightly over aggressive, but there's something about setting the tone as well. You know, you have to balance that kind of setting the tone thing with being smart, and then the way the refs are calling it as well. But overall, you know, we were expecting to get blown out.
Yeah.
You know,
I think the spread was about 14.5, 15 points, something like that. So
yeah, I think
the start of the second quarter, scored the first 4 points. I thought it was a good timeout by Benke because he tried to stop the momentum that GB had right at source. 1 minute in, called a timeout. We'd only scored 4 points, but we actually carried that run on, scored 14 of the first 18 points in 3.5 minutes in the second
that's
quarter.
what you have to do when Porzingis and Bertans aren't in the game.
Yeah.
You know, and there's the difference, you know, because I'm assuming Porzingis was probably on some form of minutes restriction, or at least some, you know, informal. You know, he's going to play 7 minutes. He's going to sit 7 minutes. He's going to play 7 minutes, type of thing.
Yeah.
And I know the Washington Wizards general manager was there, keeping an eye on his ass. You know, so you have to win those minutes, and this is why, you know, having 1 or 2 guys like that skews the whole thing. It's why Latvia is not in EuroBasket, and we are. Because Latvia played all the EuroBasket games without Porzingis and Bertans and Kuric. And we played ours with a squad which is broadly comparable, if not better, than the rest of their squad. But then, so those guys go to the bench. We do what we're meant to do. Teddy really played aggressively, I thought, at the point, and really, really helped us. Wheatl's energy was good, and Olaseni was certainly invested and was able to score the ball inside. You know, and Hessen's just horrendously underrated.
Yeah, he's both games really good.
Oh, both games. I mean, you know, he's. I'm looking at some of the guys I see in the G League, and I'm looking at Miles Hessen. I'm thinking maybe a bit old for it now, but I'm thinking, you know, this guy, you know, everything about his game. There's a couple of times his decision making, maybe not quite, but his body type, his commitment, his discipline, everything is just really, really good. I thought he really was kind of a focal point to help us pull together and pull around him. Then you've got all the energy of Soko and Olaseni and Wheatle and all those guys all those guys moving around him. I thought Hessen was kind of the stability point.
So tied at 38 at halftime. Into the second half, Teddy 3, Mockford 3. Hessen got a 3 off a really broken play, and we're up 5 after 3.5 minutes, 49.
Yeah, that was
44, and that was the point at which I was going, ooh, this is going to be a bit more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, well, to be fair, we've made, you know, the advantage of having the common home court is that the guys are very comfortable shooting the ball there. You know, they shot the ball well in most of the games at Newcastle, and obviously, particularly someone like, you know, Teddy and Ben Mockford, who've played there now on multiple occasions. It's not like a normal international game where you're going into a gym that you're not necessarily that comfortable in. And making threes keeps you close. You know, making threes gives you. My thought at halftime was we had 38. I didn't think we would get to 70. I didn't see where our offense was going to come the rest of the way. You know, I thought the shots we'd made, we played really tough, but the shots would get harder, the players would get more tired, and also that the Latvians would get a bit of a chewing from their coach.
Yeah, that was I text Rowe at halftime and I said something very, very similar to that. I said, I think we'll get to 62, 63, and I think Banky will be ripping them one right now at 38 apiece.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was my inclination again. But then, you know, Teddy comes out and makes a ridiculous three. Ben makes a three off the dribble. And when those guys are making those shots, that's a massive thing because it opens things up for everybody else. And, you know, you don't have to be a fantastic kind of all-around NBA style superstar to be able to shoot.
Mm.
You know, if you can shoot, you've got a value in the game. Shooting is the most important skill ahead of everything else. And when I say Teddy making those shots, Ben Mockford making those shots, and Miles made the shot off, I think Carl Wheatle fell over and nearly turned it over.
Twice,
Twice dived on the floor, saved the ball, made the play, you know, and got the ball to Miles. Miles knocked it down. And yeah, for that one, I was up as well, you know. Too many Latvians to be too far up. But I was up for, yeah, go on, you know. And that was with Porzingis on the court, you know, but that was because we were scoring. We were able to score, and then they could come out and score. And
then we had a spell. The next sort of 3 minutes or so, really struggled in the half court. Only that Whelan three, and they came back and took the lead 50, 52, 56.
Yeah, and I thought this was when, again, I think we lost. I don't know if Teddy got hurt, but Teddy didn't play probably the last 15 minutes of the game. I thought we should have played Van Oostrum at this point in the game, because I thought we needed another ball handler. I thought the difficulty was that if you're left with Nelson, any three of Nelson, Mockford, Wheatle, or Whelan, you don't really have a natural point. You know, and Luke Nelson was doing a bit of it, but that weighs him down. Luke Nelson's our guy. He's our, to use a phrase, our Michael Jordan. I mean, he's not Michael Jordan, but you know what I mean. He's the playmaker. He's the guy who can hit the ball. He's effectively best utilized as an aggressive attacking two guard who's won games for GB that before he made the shot against Germany. All that stuff. He won a game at the arena before where he made some big shots at the end. And he has hardly played all summer. And you've got to really be very careful with him. If he's being hounded 94 feet, bringing the basketball up, doing a job that he's not overly comfortable with, and Carl Wheatle's the same, he's not really comfortable with. Patrick Whelan's the same, he's not really comfortable with it. Then that's going to take stuff out of him for later in the game. And I was surprised we didn't put the other point guard in at that point, because he played well last time. He played 30 minutes. So I thought that was strategic, and that might be, again, the coach familiarity with the players, not having had enough time to be confident with the players that he's got. And that was kind of a wear down, kind of was always in the back of my mind that we were going to wear down a little bit, that, you know, that way.
And that looked like the moment where it's happened, because you got Porzingis with the big dunk on the rebound. Wheatle then gets the technical, they make the three throw, and then Lomash hits a three, so it's a 4-point swing. And we've gone 5 minutes from 49-44 up to 52-60 down. There's 11 and a half minutes to go, and you're thinking, oh, that might be that.
And it actually was borne out by the box score plus minuses afterwards. But it's counterintuitive, because you think, oh, we have to compete, we have to be able to defend these guys all this time. We have to score. We have to score. You know, when our offense goes, that's when our defense goes. And having that kind of, we lost, not having Ovi on the court hurt us, because he came in, he got a cheap offensive foul. You know, he whiffed a guy on a screen, and the ref's calling a foul. I'm thinking, come on. I mean, you're watching all this stuff going on everywhere else, and you're going to start calling that type of stuff. And so he got his third foul. Then he came in, he got another quick foul for his fourth foul. And you have to say, he's a guy who can put the ball in the basket, you know, and has the confidence to do it against anybody. And not getting the minutes out of him that we needed really kind of hurt our offense. And that's when you go on the droughts. Then I thought not being able to get into offense also hurt us a little bit. And that's the thing about the point guard. Because one thing about Teddy is Teddy's very solid at getting you into your offense. You know, he's unflusterable, unflappable, or whatever, unflusterable. You know, doing that. whereas it wasn't quite as easy for Luke Nelson. And then you add in the fact that Luke Nelson and even Patrick Whelan at one point was bringing the basketball. Patrick Whelan didn't do that all of last season.
No.
And so you're asking him to do it in that environment, in a situation where he hasn't been doing it in the BBL, and that to me, I thought it was a slight bit of mismanagement of our resources. I was also a little bit surprised that Cavell, Bigby Williams didn't get in the game at some point, given the size of Porzingis. I thought it might have been a different look for him. They went with Dan Clark as the backup to the backup. So it was like Gabe, Ovi, and then Dan Clark played a bit of the 4 and the 5. Dan Clark gives you the offense. He struggled a bit defensively in this game. His plus minus wasn't great. And, you've got a 6'11" guy who dunks a lot of things, block shots, who's there. And obviously, I think, again, it's a question of the fact that Nate's not been around them long enough to necessarily know who to be sure he can trust them. And kind of Carl Wheatle played a lot. And we generally, I say a lot, not because he played badly, he did everything he's meant to do, knocked down a 3 at one point as well at the end of the shot clock. Yeah, but if he's playing at the 3, that does hurt our spacing. And it was the same, him and Jamel Anderson are kind of similar type of guys. They're energy guys, hustle guys. They make all the plays. They're great teammates. They do everything you could ever ask, but they have to be utilized in a very, very specific way, given their skill sets. I wasn't sure offensively we got that right. I thought defensively we did everything we could at all times. They fought, they battled, gave up a couple of offensive rebounds, but that's going to happen. You're going to battle. They chased. I mean, Teddy, before Teddy went out, he gave up a 3 on the curl, and then he fouled a 3-point shooter. But even then, that's when he was tired. They are so committed. Our guys are so committed and diligent and determined to kind of do everything that's right on the court. It's just a question of they have these droughts, and they don't without Tariq as a real guy who can get his own shot. So much of it falls on Luke Nelson, and they find a way in EuroBasket of lessening the load on him, and that means having him, I think, handling the ball only at the end of games. Because I mean, what's happened previously is that basically in the games that Stutel coached, certainly, Okafor was playing 28, 30 minutes, and it was only at the end of games that the ball was going to Nelson's hands to make it.
Yeah.
And if you do that all the way through the game and you regard him as kind of all the way as a 1 or a 2, I just think that's really tough. He's got so much coming on his shoulders anyway. I think we've got to be working on ways of using everybody else to free him and to let him stand out and show what he is. But that said, they came back and they kept coming back.
So last minute of the third quarter, Mockford with the 3, Olaseni with a fast break gets it down to 3. Going into the fourth quarter, it's 60-64. I thought it was a slightly weird lineup from Latvia at the start of the fourth quarter. Porzingis was on the bench. Both the Bertans were on the bench. Strelnex, I think, was on the bench as well. And I just
restrictions. Bertans struggled. I mean, the best thing about Bertans was the fact that the old BBL court is not quite as wide as the NBA court. So the twice he stood on the line when he was curling for shots, and then the third time, and he got an offensive foul for getting a defensive rebound and nailing Hessen, I think. And he was stormed around the court, turning Latvia blue with incandescent rage. So Bertans kind of struggled in the game. He wasn't really that impactful. Porzingis was clearly only allowed to play for so long, in my view, anyway. And then it was the shooter, the number 19, who's playing the EuroLeague next. No, not Courage, the other guy.
Strelnex.
No, the other guy.
Lomash.
Lomash. He was impactful in this game. He was a plus 19. So obviously the coach thought, well, I've got enough just to stay close now. I bring my closer back. And that kind of worked out well for him.
Yeah. So, but they did get 4 fouls in the first 3 minutes, Latvia. So you were thinking, well, we might be able to just hang on to this through the free throw line. And there was a play. Porzingis got called for a 3 seconds when he. Yeah,
that was funny.
It was at least 6. But they called it on him, and they'd hit. I think it was Lomash in the corner had hit a 3. Somebody in the corner.
Yeah, it was the coach. The Latvian coach must have probably wasn't on the camera, but as Porzingis got called for that 3 seconds, as Lomash made the 3, he walked from literally the line where the table is, where he's allowed to stand, with his head in his hands all the way to the corner, you know, with the gesticulations going on. It was wonderful, really, really funny. I mean, I don't think Porzingis has probably been called for 3 seconds in his NBA career.
No, probably not. And then GB come the other way, almost turned the ball over twice, but then somehow in the end, Soko scores, and the game is tied 71-71 with 5:39 to go, and it's pretty much score for the next few minutes as well.
Yeah, and we just a little bit of composure we ran out of, but also we ran out of bodies. Because if you're only playing 8 or 9 and then 3 of them foul out, you really don't have much left in way of options. So Soko fouled out, which was Hessen is playing a lot of minutes and is having to be managed. You know, you can't. You know, Nelson's playing a lot of minutes, and he's having to be managed as well. And eventually, those minutes are going to add up at the end of that game when you've got a fresh Porzingis coming back in the game. So you had Soko fouled out, then Olaseni, who got, you know, basically stitched by the refs all night, got fouled out on a technical, and he wouldn't stop talking to.
So let's take it through for those who didn't watch to there. So Hessen fast break 73-71. Porzingis tied it up 73-73. Darius Bertrands with the corner 3, 73-76. Soko with the and one, he missed the free throw, 75-76. Rodion Kurucs with the backdoor cut, 75-78. Porzingis then forced to turn out, and Kurucs with the fast break dunks it, 75-80 with 2:24 to go. And then we got a timeout call by GB. This is the point you were just getting to there. An offensive foul.
Before that,
yeah.
Just before that, on those plays, there's a couple of plays there. The one where Porzingis got the deflection, that was Luke Nelson at the point. Luke Nelson was tired of that.
Yeah, he was.
That was a tired decision. And also, he's not used to throwing the ball over someone who's 7'3" with his hands up.
Yeah.
And he's not a pure point guard, which means that's not a decision he would always make. You know, he's normally somebody else getting the ball. So he was left in that kind of facilitator role. And that was a big play. And that's not on Luke Nelson. That's on the fact that he's had to play, I think, so much. And he's had so many different roles in the game. So that turnover made a big difference, that 5-point game. And we got the timeout, which we needed on the run out.
Yeah. So then there was an offensive foul on Gabe Olaseni, which in real time looked soft, but on the replay, it was a foul. Then he gets a technical, which was his 5th. So he's out of the game. Porzingis makes the free throw, 75-81, and you're just thinking, oh man, it's gone here, isn't it? But to be fair, Hessen hit a really tough 3 the other way back.
Yeah, because Wheatland fouled out already, and Soko fouled out, and so we ended up almost by elimination. We ended up with a 5-out team. We ended up with Nelson, Whelan, Mockford, Clark, and Hessen. So to the point whereby the Latvia coach went offense defense with Porzingis, because you know he has to, because Clark's in the game is basically 5 out, and therefore everybody can shoot. And Hessen happened to be the one that was open, and Hessen stepped up and knocked it down. Hessen's just immense, and you go, oh, maybe. Go on.
So they then went to run the high pick and roll, and Clark got called for pushing Porzingis. 1:24 to go. He makes both free throws.
That was a flop. He put his
78-83.
Oh, I mean, he put his hands there, and I get that the ref sees puts his hands there, but give me a break.
Yeah. But his dad on commentary wasn't overly impressed, I think, is the polite way.
Yeah, well, I saw the same, so that was a flop.
But Nelson, quick drive to the basket, lays it in.
Yeah, he went to his left and he got to the rim. Yeah, which is what they've been doing, to put the ball in his hands at the end of games. Yeah, that's right.
80-83, 1:14 to go. Porzingis with a big dunk. 52 seconds.
That was the game, and basketball was such a game of small margins, because Miles Hessen almost jumped out the way of the ball. As the ball was rotated to the guy who rotated it to Porzingis in the corner. Hessen was actually there, and he anticipated the pass to the other guy, I think, and stepped to the left instead of stepping to the right. He steps in the line of the ball, we're going the other way, and it's game on. And he didn't. And then because it's Porzingis, Dan Clark went for the pump fake. And nobody stepped in behind him to take a charge, and that became a 5-point game. And I thought at that point we should have called a timeout. I thought, within 5 seconds of that dunk, because the ball's going back up the court, Nate's asking for a timeout. But the problem is at that point it's too late. You can't get live timeouts. I think you got to get the timeout on that dunk, because what then happened was we turned it over. They ran the clock.
It wasn't a turnover. Hesson missed the layup.
Oh, Hesson missed the layup. Sorry,
Yeah.
20 seconds. 20 seconds. Hesson missed the layup. And the one thing about Miles was he missed a couple of layups in that game, just I think out of fatigue, which hurt us key times. But that was 20 seconds gone. So suddenly you're at a 33 second left on the clock. Before I run it down, you're not sure whether a foul or not. Your timeout doesn't matter anymore.
No.
So I think that was possibly a lack of FIBA experience kicking in with Nate, that one.
Because at that point, as you say, there's about 30 seconds to go. It's a 5-point game. You're now into the thing of, do we try and win this game and potentially lose by 10, or do we go, let's just lose by 5 and use the basket difference?
Well, the moment Porzingis makes that dunk, you're in end game strategy, right? And you're down by 5 with 55 seconds to go. So you've got a shot at the game. You've got 2 possessions to their 1 potentially. Like you can, 2 threes, you win 6-0, you win, right? But it needs a lot of clear thought, and that's the time where you need to, what you're going to run is what you're going to run, and where your execution comes in, and that's the time where you need to be talking about it, just to say to the guys, look, we're still good, we're still here. Don't get overtaken by events. If we make a shot, fine, great, we get back and we play some defense. If we don't make a shot, okay, we miss it. We're going to take a quick foul, hope they miss, and then we're going to go back next to the end of the game. But none of that happened, because the timeout has to be taken basically before the ball goes through the hoop, or almost immediately afterwards. If before it comes inbound, and they didn't do that, and I thought that was a mistake. And it's different to the NBA, because the NBA just throw the ball in bounds, timeout. So that was the difference. And the game kind of dissipated at that point. But
so they dribbled out the clock, as you would at that point. Lomash missed a 3, but Rodion Kurutz with the rebound and one putback, 80-87, 8.4 seconds to go. And again, it was one of those where we caught a timeout before the free throw, so therefore you can't advance the ball. But that assumes he makes the free throw, of course, which he didn't. He didn't make the free throw, but he broke the line.
I think the timeout,
they'd already called the timeout anyway. So
it was already in. You'd have to kind of cancel it and do it again. But at that point, I mean, bluntly, you want to get as close as you can in every game. But the reality is, we're now 1-5 in this group. Latvia's 5-1.
Yeah, it's unlikely we're going to be tied.
It's difficult to see any. Now, obviously, it could be a multiple teams difference, etc. But I don't. You have to win the game.
You play the game. I think you'd play the game like that, but actually, it probably doesn't matter whether you lose by 7 or 10 in that situation.
It might matter to Latvia if they win by 7 or 10.
Depending
on if there's some ridiculous tiebreaker in relation to total point. But difficult to see it with us.
Nelson went for a drive. The ball was kind of knocked away. Came out of him. Out of bounds. 0.4 of a second. Timeout advanced the ball, but they missed the shot, and that was the final score, 80-87. Scorers for GB. Hesson had 15 points, although 5 of 15 shooting. 15, 8, and 8. He had an impressive stat line. Otis Seni with 14 and 6. Nelson, 11 points, 8 assists, but 8 turnovers.
Too much ball handling. You got to make him. He's the attacker. He has to be the guy. He has to be the player who attacks. He has to have the opportunity to attack off ball reversal and to score the ball and to take over games. He can't be worn out dribbling the ball 90 feet. The numbers I liked were the plus minuses. I thought they were quite instructive. Mockford +6, Teddy +7, Olaseni +5, whereas Wheatles -12. Clark was in at the wrong times, clearly -22, and even Luke Nelson's a -9. You know, what it showed me is that when we have ball handling and spacing on the court, we're good. When that ball handling and spacing isn't quite there, it gets very ugly very quickly, and that results in runouts, you know. And it's quite international basketball is quite homogenous now, the way that all the teams play. You know, you have your shooters, you have your big guys, you have your screeners, and you have your rollers. And there aren't that many rules for perimeter guys who aren't knockdown shooters. It's hard. And that's a balance we're going to have to find.
Soko played only 5 minutes and 40 seconds because of that foul trouble. He still had 7 points in that 5 minutes.
You know, if we get 20 minutes out of him, all the scoring I've just talked about, that's different. You know, he's your guy, he's your you know, just throw it to Charles, throw it to Ovi, you know, throw it to Ovi, you know. Ovi, let him make it.
11 of 27 from 3-point range. You talked about needing to make threes, and they did. Latvia led by Porzingis, 29-point shot, 9 of 12 from the floor, 10 of 12 from the free throw line, 14 rebounds as well. Richard Lomash with 16 points off 3 of 12 shooting. He was a plus 15 as well. The other one that I like the stat line only because of its weirdness was Zorix, who scored 2 points, shot 1 of 6 from the floor, and was a plus 20 in 20 minutes. Random.
Really, you never know. It's combination. What I will say about Porzingis is he was 9 of 12, 12 of 14, and I thought we defended him as well as we possibly could.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not being funny, you know. It is, you know, the phrase cheat code, the human cheat code.
Yeah.
He didn't get anything other than one walk-up three early on when he was on the trail, and Gabe didn't get out to him, and he just shot it from like 26 feet. Other than one walk-up three, I thought we competed. I thought we fought him on every screen. We fought him on every cross screen. Miles got into his body, you know, Ovi got into him. They all really, really went at him. And it was just like, it's like, you know, if an alien had been placed on the earth to play basketball in Newcastle last night, you know, it would be Porzingis. Just, you know, just, you know, the simplicity of his movement, the size that he has, it's just on a literally a different level. And I thought we did a great job, and that's why you get paid 35 million.
Yeah. So,
you know,
let's have a quick run through the Group I table. Top 3 qualify for the World Cup. Latvia are 5-1. Greece, I'll give you the scores as well from the other games. Greece smashed Belgium 85-68. Antetokounmpo was just killing them. Turkey came from 19 down against Serbia, but ended up still losing 72-79. So it's Latvia first 5-1, Greece are 4-2, Serbia 3-3, Belgium 3-3, Turkey 2-4, and GB in 6th place 1-5. As I say, the top 3 qualify. Great Britain in November will play Serbia at home and Latvia away, and then in February we'll play Belgium at home and Serbia away, and probably need to win all 4.
Yeah, probably. And you know, but the crazy thing is, we've actually got a better chance.
Yeah.
You know, if our organization can maintain a semblance of support from the players, and the players remain committed with it all the way to the end, despite all the crap they've had to deal with. The fact, but when you get into Windows, it's a leveler. You know, you don't get no team gets 4-week preseason in Windows. No team has. You know, we played that game tomorrow without Porzingis and Bertans and Kuruc playing, then we have every chance of winning that game on the way that we played. You know, and we have to obviously in Latvia a bit different. I get that, but you know, we're back to, we assume that Nate's not going to be here again. For those games, so we're going to have a different situation again as well. But you know, Serbia obviously aren't going to. I don't think Jokic is going to pop across from Denver to play at the Virtue Motors Arena or wherever the game's being played. So, whilst these teams are good, you know, we're going to have half our team, probably more than half our team in the BBL with the way that London have recruited. I don't know where Miles is going. I don't know if Miles is going back to Japan. That would be a nightmare. are very difficult for us to replace. But a lot of the other guys are going to be around, you know. So in theory, the windows are such that there is still an opportunity there. I mean, the reality is that we don't. Our organization, our federation, does not deserve to be anywhere near the top table of European basketball. Our players, our staff, our volunteers, they do. Right? They do deserve to have a shot, proving just how committed and how talented they are. But until the structural and accountability issues are resolved publicly and without worry, without fear as to harming egos or annoying people, until they are sorted, you know, you're climbing the north face of the Eiger everywhere, and it's just wrong. So so on the sporting level, let's go 5-5, sneak in and get. What'll happen then? We'll get a 1 week preseason. We'll get a 1 week
better than 2 days.
Get 2 days, and we'll get hammered by whoever. You know, this is the thing. This is what it's the hamster running on the wheel.
It is,
He's not even running without a lot of wheel.
No.
Walking around the wheel, thinking, "Oh, isn't this a nice wheel?" No, it's not. You know, so looking at the groups and stuff is great. It's also it's icing, isn't it? It's icing on the cake of the everything that the foundation of everything that's gone on before. It needs to be fixed. And if they fix that stuff, it wouldn't matter if we went 1-11. We'd have a shot in the future. In the 11 program, we have a a committed group. Just as I say, I'm still spitting about it. That's a Geordie phrase for mad, spitting mad. Just
lovely. So so we'll wrap it up there, but we've sort of semi-agreed that we'll come back for EuroBasket.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, should we we'll certainly watch the game, so let's talk or not. It's 5 in a week, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. Yeah, we haven't planned any of this, folks.
No,
we just make it up as we go along. But
basically, I got baited into this by Alaska taunting me.
Yeah.
But no, absolutely not. We'll just see. To be honest, the assessment of the games is probably less relevant than the assessment of everything else, because it's not like a BBL season whereby you track them through the season, you track all the differences and the intrigue and stuff. This is just ultimately you make a coach decision here, coaching decision there. The infrastructure is revolting. The peasants are revolting.
So we'll probably find some time to do something during EuroBasket. But stay tuned, because we haven't planned any of it. We'll work it all out. But for now, we'll say goodbye. See you next time.